It's a cold, blistery, sunny day, and me and Rosie are gonna go look for some sheds, some scouting, and gonna take a 22 along to try to fill a limit of squirrels to eat for dinner tomorrow night. Get in there. She usually wouldn't ride like this, but we're literally going a quarter mile down the road. That's where she usually likes to sit, in the baby seat back there. She's a little bit excited this morning. I don't know if you can hear the sandhill cranes making all kinds of racket down in the bottoms here. Chilly out here, ain't it, girly? I haven't gained too much weight since last season. Still fitting decent. Got the Ruger 1022. It's the best rifle ever made. If you don't have one, you really ought to have one. Just got to walk down the road a bit, and then we're going to hunt that woods right there. It's a new property that I just got permission on this winter. So I want to scout it out, do a little shed hunting. There's obviously a cornfield that's still in, which is extremely rare. There should be all kinds of critters in here. You seen it? You seen it? Go get him, go get him. Just saw a squirrel as soon as we stepped in the woods here. So she's not a squirrel dog, she's a shed dog, but she could pretend. That squirrel is over in here somewhere and just kind of went off into that big group of trees right there. See if we can find it. Just getting excited about something. I gotta get on the other side of the tree. I can't, the sun's in my eyes, I can't see anything. See it ever anywhere, Rosie Dozy? A lot of times this time of year they'll go and set up on top of a limb and get some sun when it's cold like this. Huh. I don't know where it went to. Once I came over here, I think there's a den in this tree right up there, so it probably ran up there. You see right here where animals have been digging in the snow to get to some of the greenery underneath the snow. There's a real good trail coming out through here. I think she's doing more harm than good with these squirrels. She's staying out ahead of me and probably scaring them away, but then she doesn't do anything with them, so I don't get to see them then. She likes the birds a lot, likes chasing the birds off. Here's something kind of interesting. See all these little patches here of, those are hedge apples. There's an Osage tree right here. So animals are eating those hedge apples right now, digging them up and eating them. You think they have all they'd want to eat. I guess they need diversity in their diet. They got corn, and then they got browse and hedge apples. You can see here along the field edge. Oh, Rosie's taking a dump for us. This is the amount of tracks here. I mean, you can't even tell what stuff is. I mean, there's turkeys everywhere. There's deer tracks, small game. I mean, this is a pretty nice sized deer track right there. You know, it's snow, kind of hard to tell, but yeah, for deer, I think back in this area is going to be a better spot. I got to the area that I thought would look kind of good for deer, and does look good. I mean, you can see all through here, deer tracks just everywhere. Now, some years there's not going to be a standing cornfield here. I'm aware of that. There's not going to be as many deer in here, but what's different about this side is it's just a lot thicker. There's a lot on that side of the woods. The woods is fairly open, and over here there's just a lot more brush and stuff going on that butts up to the cornfield. Obviously, this time of year everything's knocked down, but I would imagine during deer season it would be awfully thick right here. And it kind of narrows down, pinches right up in here too, making things a little more congested. Then we got the river that's actually right over here. So, you know, I could see them bedding in here and then making their way this way at night to feed. So I think I'm gonna walk to the end of the property here, just kind of check it out and then see if there's a good trail coming out of this little point going back this way. No squirrels though, just that one we saw early. This weird little trail coming out of this tree going to the river, I assume. I don't know what this thing is. Den tree, coons, I guarantee it. It was always tough. I mean, it's good hunting on the river for coons, but it was always a lot of den trees all along the river. So there's a couple of islands of trees in the middle of this cornfield. I'm just gonna bump out there real quick and see what it looks like. Has to be deer in there. It's an island surrounded by corn. We made it. This will be a tough one to hunt because it doesn't look like there's a lot of cover on the island. Now, that could be an exception during deer season. It might be tall grass in here. A lot of times these little bios, which is what this is, just a little drainage for the river. A lot of times these will be full of tall grass in the summertime, or in the fall, which would be really good for sneaking in here undetected by deer. Looks like there's some squirrels in here too, some squirrel signs, some corn been drug in here. There is a couple of beds in here. So the deer do come in here, which obviously they would. I wonder if a guy could come off the road and come in this point right here, sneak in here quietly and get up in a tree without being seen. I wish I knew how thick it was in here during season. Just something I'm gonna have to explore that time of year to figure it out. But just the looks of things, you can see all the tall grass coming through the snow there. That's a pretty good sign that it was probably pretty thick in here before we got all this cold and snow. Got another bed right here. Another couple beds actually I see now. Rosie's sniffing in it. You can see some deer beds here and here. What's unique about this spot is why they're bedding right here is because it's a high area in this little bio here. It probably is nice and dry all the time right here, and they're up elevated a little bit. They're almost to the level of the field right there. So there's two beds that's probably been laid in real recent, it looks like. So always look for abnormal spots, either real low spots or real high spots. There's been literally beds everywhere in this little patch woods. There's one there, one there. So what I think I'm going to do, this may be where I could definitely see a big buck being in here, and this little patch wood never getting touched by humans. You can see here, I was hoping this side of the woods would have less deer sign, but we got bed with a bunch of poop in it, and then browsing all through here. There's a couple more beds right there. So, man, looks like an awesome little woods, but awfully difficult to get set up in here with this many potential bedding areas. This side actually looks like there's more beds and more sign than the other side. I am not seeing the big buck sign though that I thought I would in here, at least no rubs. Tough to see scrapes unless you find a licking branch, but pretty cool little spot though. You can definitely see this being a potential to sneak in here like early in the morning, get set up, and then have deer come back in out of the cornfield into this little bitty patch woods. I definitely like this tree that kind of leans back this way to get in with the saddle. You can sit on this side of it, and a tree that's leaning away from you in the saddle is always super comfortable. So that would be this tree. I think I would get in here Hey, get out of that water. Hey, come here. Come here, Rosie. But yeah, that should be a good spot. I think you got to mark this. I think this has to be a morning spot because I don't think you could slip in here if the deer are bedded in here. I mean, I'm at the total distance from one side of this woods to the next, maybe 100 yards. So probably not even that much. But on this bayou, the low side of it, there's just a beat trail going down through here. So they probably come from across the road. And obviously they come from the cornfield into here to bed. But I think this is definitely where the deer are living at. I did not see beds and sign like this anywhere else in the woods along the river. So it's good to know. Got one. Look here, Rosie. Come here. What we got? Headshot, Rosie. One down, 4 to go. Nice male squirrel. That's what they're doing a lot of times. They'll just be sitting on top of a limb this time of day when it's cold, sunbathing. You got to get the sun right so you can see them better. Right now I don't have the sun great. I thought when I was shooting, I thought I saw another one up in here bouncing around, but there's a lot of dead trees right here I can see now, so the odds of it being out and about are not very good anymore. I think I see another tail on top of that limb up there, waving around in the wind. So I'm gonna take a look and see if that's what that is, a squirrel, or if that's just it has to be a squirrel. Yeah. Definitely a squirrel. I gotta get a better angle at it though to shoot it. Oh, it's way up there and it's thick. Got another one. Another good headshot. Another big male too. One more itty bitty patch wood. Just gonna scan it to see if there's any squirrels in the trees there, and then head back to the big woods and start kind of fumbling around in there. See these big white trees up here? Those are sycamores, and I was always told that coons don't like the tree in those sycamores. I don't know if squirrels are the same way as coons or not, but either way, I don't see any squirrels up in them trees. I think as the bark is so smooth, maybe they can't move around in them as eloquently as they can in other species of trees. That could be an old wives' tale too, but most of them old timers know what they're talking about. But if a guy knew much about trapping, probably catch him a beaver right there. Or yeah, a beaver. I think that's a beaver shoot there. Some of that stuff is things I like to learn about. Just expand your horizon as an outdoorsman. Don't you be getting in that river. Hey, come on. I'd love to have brought Huck out here with me today, but he just struggled in the snow for very long. It's way deeper than what his little legs can handle for too long of a period of time. Okay, we are back in the big woods now, and I'm just gonna walk and look up in these trees and see if I can see another couple laying on a limb. It's a little bit tough because the sun is horrible, but we'll make it work the best we can. See what I mean? The sun's up in the sky here, so I'm looking up in the sun. I need to be starting on that end and coming this way, but that's not where we're at, so it is what it is. There's a coon laying up there on a limb, sunbathing. Not a squirrel though, I'm not gonna shoot him. That's something that is thick as thieves everywhere is coons anymore. Nobody really hunts them, I don't think, or not like they used to at least. You wonder how many of them squirrels you just walk right underneath. His limb's too big, they're laying on or whatever, you don't see them. Usually what gives them away is their little tail will be waving in the wind. I've walked a little ways now, I haven't seen a squirrel, but it's all right, we got two. A lot of times when you get one, you feel like daggone, that ain't enough to do anything. But two, you can make a meal out of two. See that tree right there? It's all grows in all kinds of different directions. That's an Osage orange tree. A lot of people call it like a hedge apple tree. Anyway, it makes a great longbow. So a lot of times you see guys making self bows or making their own bows. It's made out of Osage orange, and that's that tree right there. It's the trees that produce the big hedge apples. They're gnarly trees. I mean, they're not really good for anything other than building bows. Back in the day, I think people used to plant them for fence rows and stuff. So they're just a garbage tree now for anybody that's not a bowyer. I'd love to have a section from right there to right there out of that tree. But yeah, pretty cool. That's what a hedge apple looks like. A little buck rub right there. The deer sign's actually picked up a bunch. This is a little corner of the woods that, you know, kind of makes an inside corner right here. And of course, lots of deer sign right here. So, oh, also, just found the first shed. See if Rosie Dozy can find it. Where's the shed, Rosie? Where's the shed at? Where's the shed? We're still working on her. That's a fresh one right there. Look here, Rosie. Look. That's a deer antler. That's a bone. There you go. That's a good girl. Yeah, that's a good girl. Yeah, that's a good girl. You excited about that thing? That's funny. I'm just sitting here talking to you guys and looked over and there's a little shed laying there. There is a ton of deer sign back in here. The woods gets pretty thick. It's about 200 yards from the edge of the field to the river. And the deer look like they're back in here along the river. I mean, there's just a beat path back in here, and there's another one that goes back that way. So I'm just gonna backtrack a little bit and see what it looks like back in here. This also could be, a lot of this is turkey sign. Lots of turkeys in here, but nonetheless, this is another great spot, especially for the rut. They're gonna be in this river bottom, running this river bottom, looking for does. And on this bend here, where the river bends, this has to be a prime spot. Would like for this to have been like a 80-inch shed, you know, something like that. See those sandhill cranes up there floating in the wind? That's cool. I've never seen that before. I've gotten into shed mode now. I gotta start looking up for squirrels. This time of year, there's not a lot of sheds laying around, you know. Still middle of January, still early January, so there's a few out there, but not a ton. This is a scouting trip, not really a shed hunting trip. Main thing's a squirrel hunting trip, but that's been slow too. Scouting's been good. I'm learning a lot about this little property. And Rosie's getting some good exercise. I think here once this snow melts and we get a little time underneath our belt in March, I'll probably come in here and really scour this place for sheds, because I have to think there's going to be sheds in those cornfields out there. With the way, there's not a lot of food around here, and that standing corn has to be attracting just tons and tons of deer. Oh, speaking of that, just jumped up a couple deer right here in front of me. Gotta watch Rosie, make sure she didn't take off after him. I don't think she saw him. Rosie just ran one up the tree right here. I'm gonna try to get a shot at it. Rosie, come. Rosie, come. Now she's chasing turkeys around. Holy cow, look at all these turkeys flying over top of me here. Here she comes, she's coming back. She listens pretty good. All right, let's see if we can track down this squirrel and get a 22 bullet in it. I don't think it's happening. Dang it. Oh well. Wasn't much we could do on that one. That one was heading up that tree pretty fast. Well, unless we tree a squirrel here in the next 60 yards, I think this is going to be the end of our little scouting squirrel hunting trip. I think Rosie's about tired too. She's not running around nearly as much as she was before. Now, I'm gonna go home and clean a couple squirrels and cook them up. My truck is a disaster. She's good and worn out.
You want something on here?
What are you doing, Bubba? My lens is all fogged up.
Hot in here.
Cold outside.
Yeah.
Hey. Well, got that done. Definitely need to work on my squirrel cleaning skills, but it took me like 10 minutes to clean 2 of them. But we got them clean. Okay, it's the next morning, prepping these squirrels for dinner tonight. We're gonna have chicken fried squirrel. I guess that's what it's called. So, tenderizing them right now. A lot of times squirrel's kind of chewy, so if you tenderize it, put a little milk and vinegar and a little lemon juice sometimes, helps get a little less chewy. Also, you can just use buttermilk. That's what essentially I'm kind of making homemade style here, because I don't have any buttermilk. It's 8 a.m. right now, so these will set for all day. We have the little... You helping me out? We'll put her back in there? Huh?
I don't know if you just get the different one, huh?
And cover it in.
What did I say? Who said that?
Among these were 12 men who traveled with Jesus wherever he went. These 12 were called Jesus' disciples. As
Pay
Jesus
attention.
traveled, many Jesus spoke words of God's love to the children and blessed them. Jesus is the Savior of all people. Jesus loves children and was instructions for parents.
We like sweet potato fries. Just 2 squirrels, that's enough for all of us. Whew. Cast iron gets hot.
Hello.
There you go. How's that look?
Hello.
Have you ever had squirrel before, Huck?
No.
You say a prayer for us? Jesus, be our guest. Let these gifts to us be blessed. Amen. That's really good. So what score do you give the squirrel?
8 out of 8.
8 out of an 8. That's pretty good. I think we'll end the video there. Tracks. I mean, they're almost indecisive. You can't even. You can see. No, now she's taking a dump. You can see here along the field edge. Oh,